Hi, my name's Natalie, and I'm obsessed with following the latest trends and buying new clothes. However, my mother and sister aren't like that at all. I want to be a fashion designer when I leave school, but my mom always scoffs and tells me that isn't a real profession. Well, she is a university lecturer and seems to hate it. So I don't want to do something I don't love. So here's a little background about me. My parents split up when I was 12. They had never got on really well. I think that my dad made a lot of effort with my mom, but she always seemed frustrated with him. She would snap at him for tiny things and would seem bored when he was telling her something. My dad didn't seem to mind that much, though. Maybe he was worried that if he left my mom, he wouldn't see me and my sister as much. Eventually, though, it must have gotten to be too much for him. After a week of whispered arguing and concealed crying, my dad announced that he was moving out. They assured us that we would still see loads of them both, and they definitely made that their number one priority. In fact, in some ways, things improved a lot after they split up. We spent half the week at my mom's, half the week at my dad's, and then alternated weekends. It actually meant we got to spend more quality time with each parent. Strangely, my dad seemed to have taken it much better than my mom. Even though I thought he was the one more invested in the relationship before, it seemed like a huge weight had been lifted off his chest now. He was more relaxed and laughed more. My mom, on the other hand, was more stressed than ever and snapped at us constantly. After about a year, my dad introduced me to Jessica, his new girlfriend. I was taken aback. I hadn't expected my dad to move on so fast. Obviously, I was happy for him, but I wasn't sure I would get on with his new woman. What if she was like stepmothers in films? Super controlling and trying to get rid of the kids. What if I never got to see my dad anymore? But as soon as I met Jessica, my worries faded away. She seemed very friendly and kind. While chatting, I told Jessica about my love of clothes and that I wanted to try and start making some of my own. I was surprised when she admitted to also being really into making her own clothes. And she showed me a picture of her in a beautiful dress that she had made. It was absolutely beautiful. I asked her if she would help me make a dress for my end-of-term party, and she said she would love to. I couldn't believe I had just met Jessica. It already felt like we had known each other for ages. My dad was clearly as thrilled as we were that we got on well. When I went to my mom's that night, my little sister had already told my mom about Jessica. My mom looked extremely grumpy and was very short with me when she asked what I thought about Dad's new girlfriend. The next weekend I was spending with my dad, but he told me when I arrived that he had to go away with work and asked if I would mind spending the weekend with Jessica. I said I didn't mind at all. Jessica seemed really excited to spend time with me, too. We spent Friday night watching movies and eating chocolate, and she plaited my hair really nicely. The next day, we decided to go shopping for supplies for my dress. But it really just turned into a huge shopping spree. She was even more fun to go shopping with than my friends because she had a really good eye for fashion. We spent Sunday working on my dress, and my weekend passed so fast because of how much fun I was having. I know it's awful, but I secretly wished that my mom could be a bit more like Jessica. Think how close we would be. When I got home to my mom's on Monday evening, she was too busy with work to talk to me until dinner time. She was actually acting really strangely, being really quiet and even more blunt than usual. It kind of seemed like she was depressed or something. I asked her if I could go to Dad's next weekend, saying that Jessica will help me with my homework. To my surprise, my mom burst into tears. I didn't know what to do. I had never seen my mom cry before. She started shouting at me, saying that it was fine if I preferred spending time with my dad's new girlfriend than her, that I could do what I wanted. I could see that it clearly wasn't fine, but I thought my mom was acting very childishly, and I wasn't about to argue with her in this mood, so I just left the room. The next weekend was amazing. We continued working on my dress, and I couldn't wait to try it on. Jessica was funny, but also really kind, and treated me like an adult. On Monday evening back at my mom's, I braced myself for her to get angry again. But she was strangely calm, which was kind of worse because it made me very uneasy. She didn't ask me how my weekend was. Instead, she asked me if I wanted to go out dress shopping after school on Wednesday. She said she had seen a lovely dress that would really suit me. I knew I should have told her about the fact that I was making my dress, but I didn't have the heart to. On Wednesday, we went to see the dress, and as I expected, it was hideous. It had long sleeves and was a burgundy velvet. I would be the laughing stock of my class. I told her that I was kind of looking for something a bit more floaty and short, and she told me that she didn't think a dress like that would be appropriate for me. I hate how she always tries to control my life. I was so annoyed that I told her I was making a dress with Jessica. She didn't say anything to me for the rest of the evening, but the next day, she had told me that I was staying at her house for the weekend because I needed to catch up on my schoolwork and because Jessica was ill. I knew this wasn't true, but I knew I had no power to argue with her. The weekend before my party, just as I was packing for my dad's, my mom told me that he and Jessica had gone away for the weekend. I was devastated. What was I going to wear? The party was on the following Friday night. I cried and ran to my room. I just wanted to be alone. But 5 minutes later, my mom stormed into my room and started shouting at me. She said that I was acting like a complete brat, and I didn't even deserve to go to the party, never mind have a nice dress to wear to it. I couldn't believe what she was saying. I suddenly exploded and told her that I didn't want to live with her anymore, and that I'm sick of her acting so depressed all the time, and why can't she just get a life? All these feelings just came pouring out of me, and I couldn't stop them. I told her how unfair it was that she didn't even give me a choice about where I wanted to live when she and Dad separated. I turned to face her and said, I'd rather live with Dad, because at least Jessica was nice to me and talked to me about stuff and actually wanted to hang out with me. I told her how bored I was living with a depressed mom and why couldn't she be a bit more cool, like Jessica? My mom burst into tears when she heard all of this, and she came over to my bed and tried to hug me, saying she was so sorry, and she'd sort herself out and make everything better. I was crying too, but I told her I was just sick of this life. It was making me so exhausted. My mom said she promised she would change, and she'd get some help for her depression. She asked for a second chance and explained that since Dad had met Jessica, she'd been jealous, and she'd been taking it out on me and my sister, and it wasn't fair, and she would try harder for us. She couldn't stop crying, and it really seemed like she was embarrassed about how jealous she'd been of Jessica. I just hoped things would get better. I couldn't bear this, and to top it all off, I wouldn't even get to go to the party now. The following Thursday night, I gave in to the fact that I wouldn't be going to the party the next day, and got into my pajamas to watch a film. I felt so sad. Everyone was going except me. Just as I clicked play, there was a knock on my door. My mom came in holding a bag. I figured it was going to be the burgundy dress. There was no way I was going to wear that thing. But then my mom pulled the dress out, and it was my dress, the one Jessica and I had been working on. I couldn't believe it. It turned out that Jessica had actually been ill, and the following weekend, she and my dad had gone to get me a surprise for my outfit, a beautiful tiara that my grandma wore at her wedding. Then Jessica had finished my dress as a surprise, and the most shocking part was that my mom had helped her. They had worked on it together. I ran and hugged my mom, and I couldn't stop smiling. She hugged me back and said she would do anything for me, even if that meant cooperating with Jessica. If you have any stepmother stories, comment on this video. Remember to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel.